Oh guys, so it is a rest day knowledge bomb for you. What is the best, or rather what are the group of the best protein sources to take in? You know, there's a lot of misconceptions out there, but there isn't just one true best. Well, there is, in terms of like bioavailability, amino acids, calories, it's red meat by far. But what you need to look at are the other variables, because being in certain situations, like let's just say for instance you're trying to lean out or you're trying to bulk up, you know, some protein sources are going to work better for you than others while maintaining your goals towards whatever that is, you know. So first let's break down amino acids. Right now, when it comes to amino acid profiles, all proteins are not created equal. So at the bottom tier, we're not even going to talk about, are any proteins that are not animal based. With any protein that isn't animal based, it is not a complete amino acid profile, meaning that it has no pure bioavailability. So it's kind of like taking a pill capsule that's not full. It's empty actually, because we need a complete amino acid profile to allow our body to use those amino acids and use the protein. Otherwise, we're getting the calories, but we're not actually getting any protein from it, because protein doesn't matter. It's the amino acids behind the protein that really, you know, make a difference. So in the bottom tier, you have anything that is not animal based. So now let's build it up, right? Second lowest protein source after anything that's not animal based is pork. Pork, why pork? So it's, most cuts of it are very fatty while having a lower amino acid profile. And not only that, but pigs are kind of the bottom feeders of the, well, air breathing world, right? So what happens is they're eating their nutrients, quote unquote, from just kind of whatever they get their hands on, whatever they can just put in their mouths. Now that's not a clean diet. That's not anything to really be proud of, satiable wise. Because when you're eating those things, you know, you are what you eat. And us eating clean food to make our bodies better, the same thing goes with animals, right? Whatever they're eating makes their body, and then we eat that, and so on and so forth. So if they're not eating good things, it transfers to us, and we're not eating good things. After the pig, fish itself is great. Tilapia is just above pork, because for the very simple reason of tilapia is the bottom feeder of the fish world. It's a very low quality fish. I'm putting it over pork because of it's a lot leaner, obviously, and it's not nearly as messed with as pork is in terms of being organic or inorganic, right? I'm trying to get off this parkway. It's a rainy mess outside. But tilapia, even though it's a bottom feeder, it's a very low quality protein. The amino acid profile is fine. It's nothing to, you know, write home about. But it's a much lower quality protein source because they're eating garbage and, you know, fish feces and things like that off the bottom of the ocean floor. That's the majority of where their food comes from. It's just kind of, once again, whatever they can get their fins on. So after pork, you have tilapia. Now we get into a little bit of a, I don't want to say personal preference, but using bro science versus non-bro science, right? So to start, after tilapia, a lot of the bros aren't going to like this, but chicken. Chicken, in my opinion, not just my opinion, the fact, is one of the lower scale protein sources there is out there, besides the one I already talked about. Chicken is very dense, and we're going to talk just organic right now. Because if you're talking inorganic chicken, it's so messed with. I'd put it below pork. But chicken in general, man, it's a very dense protein source with a fine amino acid profile. Once again, it's nothing to write home about, but the density in chicken and how hard it can be for the body to break down, even though it's so lean. That's the little differentiation there, is that red meat's hard for the body to break down, but it's hard for the body to break down because it's dense with nutrients. It's hard for the body to break down because it's dense with some fat cells in there. Chicken is just a very dense meat. So it's hard for the body to break down, yet doesn't actually provide anything extra for that work to break it down, right? Following chicken, we're getting into, I gotta turn this GPS off, there we go. Following chicken, we're getting into what I believe is the holy grail of your protein sources. From here up is where, if you want to eat super clean, stay super healthy for a long time, if you eat as much of these following ones as you want, I think you're in good shape. So above chicken's turkey. Turkey, it's pretty much chicken that isn't nearly as dense. Relatively the same amino acid profile, typically a little bit leaner, easier to break down, and turkey isn't as messed with as chicken is. Where chickens have been generationally injected with steroid after steroid after steroid after, drugs and drugs and drugs. Where, chickens, if you looked up what a chicken used to look like versus what it looks like nowadays, even through like selective breeding, they are significantly larger. Even the organic ones that are selectively bred, right? They're so much bigger than what chickens naturally used to look like and what they're supposed to look like. So, I'm placing turkey right there. Fine amino acid profile, slightly better than chicken in terms of absorbability, slightly better in terms of on your digestive system. And that whole melatonin turkey thing, it's not real. All right? Doesn't put you to sleep. Now, following that, here's where things can get, once again, we're just talking, amino acid profiles right now. And then I'll go into which ones are better for bulking, which ones are better for cutting right afterwards, right? So following, the hell is that? Anyway, it's, they're pouring blacktop, but in the rain for some reason. So it's smoking a little bit. Nice and steamy. But anyway, sorry. After turkey, in my opinion, we have, that's a tough one. You know what? Let's go salmon. Let's go salmon. And then we'll talk whitefish afterwards. You know what? I'm sorry. Other way, let's flip it around. Let's go any whitefish that isn't a tilapia, right? Any carnivorous whitefish. So like cod, halibut, mahi, things like that. They're incredible protein sources that are super easy to break down. Amino acid profile is great. It's great on your stomach. It's great on everything. It's great for your skin, hair, nails, everything. Super easy to break down, super easy to work with, and fast to cook. Now, I was teetering between placing that before or after. Yeah, this guy messed up in front of me. That's what you get for trying to cut off all the traffic in a BMW, dude. And now everybody's stuck at the light. But anyway, what I was teetering it on was the amino acid profiles for salmon, organic salmon only. Non-organic farmed salmon is basically candy. The amino acids are horrendous with it. But true, clean, organic salmon, it's one of the best things out there. Very similar amino acid profile to other carnivorous whitefish, but it's got those omega-3s and omega-6s. And now those omegas, and that's the reason I put it above the other whitefish, because everything else stays the same except for the what's the word I'm looking for? Presence. Except for the presence of those omegas. Those omegas are great, even better for your hair, nails, skins, joints, inflammation, things like that. So above the white fish, I'd have salmon. Following salmon is the king of the kings, grass-fed red meat. Grass-fed or grass-fed, grass-finished organic red meat is by far, and by red meat, just so you know, cow, things like that. Cow, steaks, ground beef, it doesn't matter. Just red meat. Well, let's just all cattle, right? Because we're not talking game meat. Game meat's a little funny, but and it's also not something you're going to have readily available for your protein sources, so don't worry about it. But cattle, grass-fed, grass-finished, organic cattle is the by far best protein source for whatever you want to do. It's not as lean, so it's not great for cutting, but we'll go into that in a moment. But in terms of bioavailability, it has the best amino acid profile of any protein source, of any food on this planet, rather, by a long shot, in terms of macronutrients, minerals, vitamins, protein, amino acids, cholesterol. Cholesterol is good for you. All of that. It has everything you need, and it's the one food, truly, where if you only ate it, you'd survive, and you'd live a really good life. It's the only food on the planet where you could only eat it and be okay. If you only ate fruit, you're going to get sick. If you only ate chicken, you're going to be lacking, amino acids. If you only ate vegetables, you're going to die, But if you only eat red meat, you're getting plenty of everything. So you'll really be okay. I believe people need glycogen in their bodies too, but the body will produce glycogen through kind of a process like keto a little bit, where it turns glycogen into, not glycogen, it turns ketones, which is going to be fat cells, so it's going to turn the fat cells into glycogen to be used. Now, kind of like a reverse process, if you will. Once the body realizes, like, oh, we have no glycogen whatsoever, but we could use some. The body always takes care of you. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. So red meat's the best. Now, in terms of dieting, right? This is where you're going to flip around those top king proteins I was talking about. If you're leaning out, even though red meat's the best, for you, unless you're on like a keto diet, right? White fish is going to be the best because it is the quickest digesting protein you're going to find possible. So you're getting a phenomenal amino acid profile, right? While it's breaking down super quickly and easily digested. Win-win-win, right? That's going to allow your body to be in a more fat-burning state for a longer period of time because it digested the food faster. Now, if you're bulking, best protein source obviously is going to be red meat for every reason I listed before. But when you're bulking as a bodybuilder, you really can't just live off red meat because you need, well, to be frank, you need the stomach capacity for your glycogen, for your carbohydrates. But it's important to get it in at least once, twice a day, especially if you're bulking up. So after red meat, I'd say turkey or whitefish. Salmon will have its place, good, clean, organic, wild-caught salmon. But in terms of making it realistic and having lower fat in some of those meals so that you can really stomach a lot of carbohydrates with it, I would say a combination of red meat, whitefish, and turkey. They're going to be your best, your best bets for a bulk. And man, on that note, I think we touched a lot on this rest day. Hope you guys have a great day. We're going to be back tomorrow for a kick-ass Boulder Shoulder Day. And I'll see you then.